Hello, everybody. It's Todd Standing live show here. This is the mid-May Discovering Bigfoot, and yeah, I'm relying. Nice bump there to start the show. I'm sure it'll happen from time to time. I apologize. Just the way it is. Hey, Australia, Alea Moon, how's it going? So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about Sasquatch. Hey, Amanda. I know it's late in England. Thanks for tuning in. Um, yeah, looking for food. All the animals right now are just trying to bulk up and put some weight on. The food sources, just some of the food sources just come into play. Not a lot of them, and so animals are not having good abundance right now, but they're building up, and in the next couple months when things start to become more abundant. Hello from the Netherlands. Holy cow, Shelley, that's a long ways away. Don't you know there's no Sasquatch in the Netherlands? I was in Europe, and specifically uh, Stockholm, Sweden, and hey guys, and yeah, there's no Sasquatch there. So the Vikings are the indigenous people. They don't know anything about Sasquatch. So if they're not in Sweden, they're not likely. I don't know. Maybe they were thousands of years ago, but it's funny. I wonder. Good question that I don't know the answer to is: are there any? I don't know. I thought there wasn't any legends of Sasquatch in Africa, and there are. And who the heck thought there'd be the Yowie in Australia? There's people from trying to get my finger in front of the camera from New Zealand, and now there are other people, hey Louisiana, that are telling me there are Sasquatch in um, New Zealand. But and that's very perplexing because there's not much for predators there. And then I get people telling me there's Sasquatch in England, and then my colleague and friend Amanda, who lives in England, it was funny to hear her response to that was like, no, there are absolutely not Sasquatch in England. And Buddy sent me like photographs and stuff that were not very convincing, but certainly interesting. So, hey, why am I subscribed to this guy? If you don't like the food in this kitchen, then go to a different restaurant, my friend. Ex Sophia. Goodbye. Whew. Wow, Toronto. How's it going? Toronto. That's how they say it in Toronto. So big, beautiful, incredible city. Not well known fact that Toronto is one of the biggest cities in North America, like after New York and Los Angeles. We have some big stuff here in Canada, including especially big forests. So saw the last video. This is from Robert Walton. Saw the last video. Some coworkers who thought it was CGI. Really? We're still thinking that's CGI? That's not. There's one thing that my goodness, it's not CGI. So there's nothing CGI. I've had my footage tested. You know, there's a thing you can do, filmmakers can do. They can, when they test footage and if there's CGI on it, like it just pass right away. You can't even like you. I've had my footage tested where it's like raw, where there's not color correction, there's not audio correction, there's nothing but absolute pure raw footage right out of the camera. Uh, that's just totally asinine and ridiculous to think my work is CGI. It's not. So you could say now, like in my documentary, I'll be honest, I bumped up the contrast maybe a little bit, but I bumped up the saturation because it shows up the legitimate real colors and makes the real colors come out a little more. And I mean just a little bit of bump on the saturation, a little bit of bump up on the contrast. For the documentary, I did that just because I want it to be as clear and as vivid as possible, not to try to change anything. So are there any Bigfoot in Joshua Tree? I don't know where Joshua Tree is. I'd have to look that up. Grow the beard back. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. So hello, Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan. Been down there. Played my documentary there. Loved Saskatchewan. Boy, the boys are big in Saskatchewan. I don't know what they're eating out there, but lots of prairies. Beautiful, beautiful country. Actually, northern Saskatchewan has fantastic Sasquatch. I really wanted to go up around a place called, it was Turtle Lake, I think. Some people had some amazing stuff allegedly going on there. So, Idaho, yeah, I don't think I've been to Southeast Idaho. I think I was in the Northwest Idaho. There were definitely Sasquatch, and I met a guy who had some really. It's cool when you meet people and they ask the right questions. I'm always. It's funny because they're asking me questions, and after they ask the right questions, I want to ask them questions because the right questions thoroughly impress me. Um, just as an example, when I was working with some professors from Beijing University, they kept putting photographs in front of me and saying, are these significant? Are these significant? And they were showing me tree breaks and tree structures and twists. And they were showing me tracks of bears and then tracks of the Yeti. And specifically, one of the tracks they showed me was when the mid-tarsal joint is, when they're running, the strides are long and not perfectly in line where they're running. They start to get some spacing between them. When they're walking, so as I was saying, when they're walking a very straight line, is very perplexing to me. Dr. Meldrum, who's the expert in bipedal movement, just absolutely genius to do with it, says it's actually anatomically more correct. And I don't see that because when you walk from the hips, it seems the legs are going straight, and the Sasquatch have this, the leg sort of spins around and comes back in front. And he says that's better, that's more anatomically correct and efficient. I just take his word for it because I don't understand that. But when they run, though, there's a bit of spacing between, there's a separation again, but the whole foot doesn't hit down. It's like the ball of the foot when a human runs, and it's the front of the foot when a Sasquatch runs. I remember them showing me that track, which was, at the end of their questions, I want to ask questions because I'm impressed with their questions. So a lot of times I'll hear people, but then there's the other side of the coin where I just get that. Honestly, it's mostly a feeling that people are just BSing me. Like I had a guy on Facebook that alleges he knows where there's bodies and he buried them there, and come out to this particular state in the U.S. and let's go dig them up. And I'm like, well, why don't you just go dig them up? He's like, well, I can't. I won't go on. It's private property. And this is what red flags me, right? And I'm telling him, like, sir, this is the discovery of full bodies there. You got to go do something. Like, go dig up something and take a picture before I spend thousands of dollars and put my whole financial future on the line, because it's a lot for me to travel around and do stuff. But he wasn't willing to do any of that stuff. He wants me, a Canadian, to come out to the United States and dig around on private property and risk my butt, and but not willing to do anything in return. And yeah, so I just wasn't, I need to. There has to be give and take. You know what I mean? And plus, there's just other things that didn't ring through true to me, and it's unfortunate because I would love that if I could just go, somebody with using my news and media I've been on to find or meet somebody that has the discovery, there and done, would be amazing. But he was like, I got a body and this is all here and everything's all done. Come on out, let's do this. So let's be honest. There's some strange people, and there's hoaxes, there's fake stuff. I don't know why people do that. I've suffered tremendous losses with my real footage. So the fame, you can have the fame. Fame sucks. I'm a really private person, and yeah, I don't really. It's strange when you go out, people just know who you are, and they start talking to you like, well, they just know you, and it's strange. It's not something I dislike, but I don't know. I just prefer to be just to be quiet and nobody know me and just have my own privacy. My privacy is very valuable to me. Which of the videos out there do you believe to be real Bigfoot footage? Well, the Patterson footage. So, and that Paul, what's the guy? The Washington guy. I forgot his name. Oh, Paul something. Paul Freeman. Yeah, the Paul Freeman footage doesn't look very real to me, but Paul Freeman has absolutely real tracks, and he was really around Sasquatch. I'm very convinced of that from testimony from people like Jen and others. And looking at his evidence, Paul Freeman also, I'm very convinced, faked a handprint. I could see it in the in the way this handprint was made. He has a real handprint and then a fake one, and Paul Freeman swears they're both real. So I think Paul Freeman had some real stuff. He had some stuff that he hoaxed. So I don't know which is the case about his video. I honestly, in my heart, I think it's not real, but the facts show that the man really was around Sasquatch a lot. He was like riding on the side of the road, seeing fresh tracks from real Sasquatch. So, maybe he just got frustrated and, decided to hoax something. And I'll tell you, like, understand, like, I found Sasquatch in California. Now it's probably 2 years ago was the last time. I've been going on an expedition. I've been really working hard to make this discovery move forward. I haven't filmed a Sasquatch. Like, my video 8 is old. That's from like 2014 or 2015. It's been a long time since I filmed a Sasquatch, and I try hard. So it's Sandals. That's a funny name. Love the new footage. What is Bigfoot's relationship with fire, as they seem to smart enough to use it if they wanted. Smart enough to use it if they wanted. Yeah, they don't use fire. They don't need fire. Um, there's a long story about fire, actually. Fire represents technology, and Sasquatch don't want to use any kind of technology. They're raw. They're you know foot. I say boots on the ground. They're feet on the ground, connected organically to nature in every way. And as far as I'm willing to get into it today, but fire represents technology, and once you go down the road of technology, and once you start embracing it, you lose abilities. And Sasquatch love raw meat. Have you ever eaten raw meat? Raw meat is delicious. Raw fish is delicious. I have a little 10-year-old boy who I absolutely adore and love to death. He's my amazing, wonderful rock, and I just can't say enough wonderful things about that amazing, beautiful son of mine. I love him dearly, and he loves raw fish. He doesn't use the rice, man. He just dabs it in the soy sauce and eats it raw. And I think like when a bear comes along and has some piece of cooked meat, it's like, "Ugh," and you'll eat it, but it's like it's not as good. So, and I think the Sasquatch just love that rawness. They just love that connectivity to nature. They don't want any separation from it. Why would you? You love it. So, hey, Patty Cherokee from Louisiana, how are you? What about Mike Sasquatch Ontario? Spook to Sasquatch. We've heard that. Yeah, I don't know. There's a guy from Ontario that John Bitternagel worked with for a while and showed me some tracks, and I'm sure they were hoaxed, but I don't know. And I've heard the talking, the Japanese talk and stuff. It's not great evidence. I mean, a man could do that. Human beings have an unreal vocal range. Remember that dude from Police Academy who could make all those incredible sounds? And that was back in the 80s that guy was doing that. I mean, people can make incredible, amazing, fantastic sounds, and their vocal range is amazing. What impresses me more than vocal range, significantly more Squatch can put out sound at. And that authentic, loud, when I was with Survivor Man, and Survivor Man, who has that beautiful singing voice, made an incredible, beautiful call. And that Sasquatch called it back, but it was like, I'd say at least conservatively 3 times louder. And no human being can do that. So, when's mating season, Matt? Matt, these are primates, dude. So they don't have a mating season. Gorillas, chimpanzees, and human beings all have the exact same cycles where females ovulate every month, and Sasquatch are the same. So it's always like that. They're always uh, just like it's no different than a human being. So or a gorilla or a chimpanzee. In case you didn't know, I thought that was very interesting. I was shocked by that gorillas and chimpanzees are just like their females have monthly cycles that are the same as humans. So in fact, gorillas and chimpanzees in zoos are given human birth control pills to don't breed out of control. When I was about 23 on the Kentucky side, yeah, awesome, good for you, Rodney. I mean, that's an amazing encounter. Congratulations. And I've heard lots about them being down in Kentucky. So I was in Kentucky with some wonderful people, but that turned out to be a dead end, unfortunately. I met some amazing people in Kentucky, introduced me to Slice, and just the most wonderful, beautiful people. I miss. There's a cool movie on Netflix about a man who hunts Sasquatch that kills his fiance. Ugh, that's terrible, Robert. Well, that man is not likely to survive. You don't hunt a Sasquatch, you won't live. They'll beat you. Are they more aggressive during those times? Well, they don't have mating season, Matt. So just not like that. And mating season would also allow them to be discovered more prominently, like whitetail bucks and elk are when it's mating season. They do the stupidest things they wouldn't normally do. They just risk their life and they don't care because they're trying to breed. And the Sasquatch, since they don't have that, it's easier for them to stay hidden. Todd, I'm not a Bible person, but do you think it's possible that the giants from the Bible may be culturally memory of Gigantopithecus Bigfoot? Yeah, I don't think so. It's not likely. Giants can just be as simple as big men or some some group of people that were prone to gigantism, and that had hormone problems, where like Andre the Giant, where their growth hormones just never stopped. So, uh, but I don't think so. So, Todd, Jake's group all of the same type, or do they mix? No, Jake's group all seems to be the same. I don't see, their bodies are the same and similar, just the facial features are different, bigger, smaller. There's just different things. So, but they all look extremely similar to me. Would Bigfoot react differently with a woman than a man? Mm, yes, absolutely. Well, just women are loving and soft and gentle and motherly, right? And men are gruff and bearded and hairy. So absolutely, especially when you're talking about a male-dominated society, which I'm very convinced. I'm 99% convinced Bigfoot are. male-dominated society. That's a lie. I'm 100% convinced of it. They're a male-dominated society, and so male boys like girls, right? And male-dominated societies are going to be far more prone to be interested in women when the boys are coming around, right? Boys like girls, and the girls are all with their dad or their mate, or when they grow up, they'll go off and find a dominant male to take care of them. I think so. It's called Big Legend. Yeah, thanks, Robert. I don't know if I'm just not interested in stuff like that. Like, Sasquatch 411 is really interesting stuff, but I'm not interested in the study of how they're bad and how they do things and that are scary because I have to be face to face with these beings. It's very hard for me to have to deal with that, if that makes sense. I want to focus on their positivity and the good of it because I know they can do bad things. They've harmed me. They've hurt me, and they've scared me and intimidated me harshly and threatened to harm me further, just through body language and physical. That's what they did in California, and I'm not. I just go away when that. If they don't want me around, I just go away. It's not rocket science. Green Man lives in the woods due to the way they peek through the trees. They look like they're made of leaves. Cool. Thanks for telling us that. Lotsy says been asked 100 times. Just Justin Big Legend. Hey Tim, Robert, thank you. Hello, Mike. I'm just reading off here. Hello, Mike. I'm enjoying these vids with Todd. Doesn't hope you're doing well, my friend. Thanks for that craft. Hey, there's Ontario ITC Research. How you doing, my girl? Hello, Craft Cannibals. Thank you for supporting Ontario. She's a colleague and tremendous supporter of my work. I'm very grateful for her help. So, Todd started out trying to disprove. That's correct, Rodney. There you go. I was going to, let's just say it. Like, I are light years ahead in tracking and real boots on the ground knowledge. And they knew it was real. And before I knew it was real. And that's it. So, thanks for the support there, Porsche S. Yeah, Ontario. Hey, just talking. Hey, Todd. In video 3, how tall was that Sasquatch? Good question, Adam Donovan. I would say that Sasquatch was about what I have him at about I think 7'4" is what I had him at. So big, and I had him at 500 plus pounds, 7'4". So yeah, and I always try to be conservative in my estimates. I don't think that. I think though that 7'4", we really, since I stood in that spot where their Sasquatch was, I think we really have that nailed down. I think it was between like 7'3" and 7'5", plus or minus 2 inches. We did some hard work on that because that was important information. So, Todd, there are many kinds in Oklahoma. I'm serious. Well, that's cool, Matt. I have so much to learn, Matt. There might be Sasquatch experts, but I'm like, we got a long ways. I have a long ways to go. So, Todd, I'd love to go out with you if you're killed the Sasquatch were real, because I see him letting loose an arrow. Whoa, whoa. Let me read that again. I would love to go out with you. Fear we'll get killed if Sasquatch were real, because yeah, no, I have tons of expeditioners, over 20 people now that have gone out with me, like, and we're not getting injured. So I wouldn't take people out if I thought it was dangerous. Morally, I would be extremely damaged if a human being was ever hurt on my expeditions. So I'm a very sensitive guy, actually. I adore my children above all else in this whole world so, so, so deeply. And my son calls me a big softy, and I'm very. Anyways, what I was just saying is I'm just very. Uh, I don't like violence at all. I wouldn't be able to see somebody get harmed. I've seen people injured, and it really hurts my heart. And I've had some experiences where I've had to defend myself violently against animals that were attacking me, and it was really hard on me. So I just don't do that stuff well. I'd like to someday, but I've never. I don't. It takes to kill. Like, I just think that I know what the elk go through and how hard it is for them to survive. I know what all animals go through. I mean, survival, especially in the Canadian uh, Rocky Mountains and these areas, it's really hard. Like, winters are hard. Survival is really difficult, and knowing what they go through to survive and then taking a life is a big deal to me. So it's something I want to do. I feel like a bit of a hypocrite because I eat meat. So I should be able to go out and get my own meat, and I'll harvest them appropriately. I'll be a meat hunter, I wish, someday. And I'm just very, I guess the term would be I'm very civilized, but maybe that's not a good term because I love nature and wilderness so much. I'm just very moral, and I don't know how to explain. I'm domesticated, I guess. I'm just, I'm not from violence. I feel like my family has just taken violence right down. Like, when my grandpa went through World War II and stuff, and then my dad went through, he had some pretty hard times. He grew up, in the 50s and 60s. It was tougher, and took it down a notch for me. And I think my son is just like more my dad never did, and peace and yeah. So, anyways, thanks for that putting up that link there, Amanda. What keeps you planted when you want to run? Cheryl, that's a good question. What keeps me planted? Knowing that I have absolutely no chance of outrunning these beings. Bears, bears will outrun a horse, and knowing that's the surest way to trigger an attack, you better stand your ground. Like that's actual cowardice. When you run off, when you run like that, when you break down, you're losing rationality. Like if you ran from a wolf, he might attack you. I've never, probably not actually, because wolves don't really attack people. They haven't in recorded history, but they chase you a little bit anyways. A mountain lion sure would attack you. Bear, yeah, it's just the surest way to trigger an attack. It's ignorance or cowardice. You choose, but there's no two ways about it. You don't run, ignorant and coward. I didn't know any better, and I got hurt because of it. So, have you ever had an expeditioner get so scared that they wanted to go home? Yes. In fact, probably I was working Discovery Channel. I don't know, the third time they were threatening to do a show. I'm up to 5 times Discovery Channel has threatened to do shows with me. I took out a PhD primatologist who had experience with gorillas. And it wasn't the Sasquatch that scared her, though. She saw a grizzly bear scat and said, that pile of scat's bigger than my dog. And it was a big grizzly bear. And he was wandering around our campsite that night. I had to go deal with him that day because he was getting maybe a little potentially dangerous. And suddenly, out of nowhere, her uncle was sick. She has no cell phone service, and suddenly she found out her uncle was sick, and she had to immediately go home. So she was terrified of the bear. And there have been other. Actually, what's cooler than that though? There's an expeditioner I went out with, who was really scared of any sounds. Like literally, a squirrel would make a sound, and he would jump up and move around. But what I admired was that he told me, he says, "I'm terrified." And this was like a big, muscular, tough guy. He was awesome. I really he's still a friend of mine. He's still coming back. But what I admired about him is he said, "I don't care if I'm rolling on the ground, peeing myself. I am not going home. I'm doing this. I'm getting through this because this is what I want to do. This is a goal in my life, and I'm going to achieve it, and I will not quit." And I admired that more than anything. I admired his honesty, and I admired the fact that he was just out there and he wanted to come back. And he told me this man had traveled all over the world. Said it was one of his. Actually, he told me it was his best vacation of his lifetime. And that was very impressive to me. So are Sasquatch intuitive to your mood? Are you guys amazing or what? Like these are Luke. What a wonderful question. Absolutely, Luke. I absolutely think so. Yeah, moment to moment even. I've had like expeditioners come out and tell us a sad story, and I believe they didn't come around because the mood was negative. So not just that day, but moment to moment, Luke. From minute to minute, they're intuitive to your mood is how I feel about it. So in India, I've heard Bigfoot have been seen worshiping a giant footprint. That's Kill Rob. That's funny, and maybe it's true. I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm cool. Yeah, religious. And I don't know what that definition precisely would be, but they're definitively, absolutely spiritual. Hi Todd. What causes force people to become masters of strategic intelligence, ESP, evasion? So that's awesome, man. You guys, what an awesome question, David. What caused them, the Force people or Sasquatch, to become these masters is that's all they do. They're built for this. They're in it neck deep. They never quit on it. Like and survival of the fittest. So the evolutionary factor will go quicker when you're saves sick people and weak people, and nothing wrong with that. But when you're in the wilderness and survival is everything, and you go through all the harshness, like a baby Sasquatch that's not able to handle the cold is going to die. A Sasquatch that has brittle bones is going to die. That has ailments and that makes mistakes and does foolish things is going to not survive. So, and living at altitudes, cooperating amongst each other, focusing on their feet intelligence, ESP, calm, serenity, connectivity to nature, connectivity to the whole circle of life, and loving it. It's that love too that they have. not just the intelligence, but the love and the passion, the spiritual, it's all these things that have evolved that makes them such masters of everything. Well, maybe not everything, but a lot of things that really impress me. That's why I'm so humbled by them. I just think they're so amazing. Boy, you guys have such fun. I just think, like, what is this, like the 20th live show I've done? And these are totally original questions. You guys are absolutely brilliant. Hi, Todd. Wanted to know what your thoughts on the Himalayan Indian history would have been into the Sasquatch or the cousins. I don't know anything about that. Hanuman Indian history? I don't know anything about that. Sorry, what's his name? J.H. Freeman. I wish I did. There's supposedly a woman who was accepted by a troop in the southern USA. It was said that she was able to babysit the young ones in her house. I didn't hear about that story at all. And she communicated with them through clicking. Yeah, I never heard anything about that. It sounds interesting. Um, the DNA. Let me offend for a second. Though the DNA that I'm told by geneticists seems to be very legit. Shows that Sasquatch have bred with human females and they produced offspring that are so viable that they bred back into the Sasquatch population. So, supposedly, Sasquatch and human beings have bred, and our DNA is on the human female mitochondrial DNA is in the Sasquatch DNA. So we're talking now, dude, Michael. We're talking way more than babysitting and stuff. We're talking like genetically mixing, which is crazy. Sorry, it seems to be working pretty good now. I can't wait to see the next do good stuff. She's the PhD from what state is that? Montana. It's close to Montana. Anyways, Mayanzinski has a really cool event, and John Mayanzinski has profound. His story is incredible evidence. So, like a shot Sasquatch, a body. This man's a PhD. He's a mentor to Jeff Meldrum. So, if that's the same man, yeah, John Mayanzinski, PhD, like a wildlife biologist and incredible, really nice gentleman. So, sorry about the breakup there a little bit. So let's. Everybody's thanking Amanda. Yeah, thanked Amanda enough. Oh my God, yeah, she's amazing. So I need help, like people from Amanda. If you want to help Amanda, send an email to bigfoot@gmail.com. Amanda has all that stuff, and if you want to help her, help this research move forward, and that's what she's doing. Really, I don't. She helps me, and I'm so grateful. And there's other people that are helping. I'm so grateful for their assistance, but it's really about helping the Sasquatch too. So I'm sorry, everybody. I gotta cut it short today. I'll do more of a show next week. I'll do ones out there or the Sabbaths, show how they react to it. Yes, I've tried to do stuff like that. It doesn't seem to have a good effect. It's nothing measurable that I can see. Drums, harmonicas, music. But anyways, I'm sorry I have to cut it short, everybody, today. But my internet's gonna get really bad here in a second, and my phone's dying. So. Thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are absolutely amazing. I'm going to do a new kind of Saturday video if everything works out okay with that. And yeah, so you guys are awesome. Again, amazing questions. And I'll be back next Wednesday. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. It's always awesome for me to do these shows. I just love them so much, and you guys are fantastic. Please tune in back next Wednesday. If I didn't get to your questions, I'll do an extra long show next Wednesday for sure. Because you guys have the most phenomenal question. You guys are brilliant. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. These questions are fantastic. And so thank you very much again for tuning in, and stay tuned for the Saturday video. It should be a good one if everything works out. And next Wednesday, I'll do some overtime for you guys. Until then.